Hey guys, welcome back to Philip Draws Comics. I'm Philip. That's my hand you see on the screen right now, drawing the picture in front of you. And today we're going to do something a little different. Normally on this channel I draw classic American superheroes, either in a realistic style or in a cartoony Bruce Timm sort of style. But today we're going to go back to a style that's very near and dear to my heart, and that's the work of classic mangaka Akira Toriyama, with his seminal work, Dragon Ball. There's a brand new Dragon Ball cartoon out there called Dragon Ball Daima. And today we're going to take the main character, Goku, and draw him in his outfit from Dragon Ball Daima. But to put a little twist on it, I'm going to draw it in a style that is more evocative of Toriyama's 80s look back when he originally created Dragon Ball. Toriyama is an artist whose style has changed noticeably over the years. When he first created Dragon Ball, he had sort of a rounder, cuter, more cartoony style. And as the series went along, it eventually evolved into what everyone knows now as Dragon Ball Z. The story became less about fun, cute, comedic DuckTales type adventures and became more about just straight up martial arts, guys kicking and punching each other through planets and what have you. That necessitated a more sharper, angular, kind of angrier style. And in the 30 or so years since the original Dragon Ball manga ended in the mid-90s, Toriyama's style has changed more and more and more as time has gone on. I want to show you guys a quick example here. This is 80s era Akira Toriyama. It's the body basis I'm using for the drawing we're looking at today. And this is Goku from the Dragon Ball Daima cartoon show currently running on all the streaming services. You can see the difference between the rounder, flusher, fuller Toriyama of the 80s and the more sort of flat 2D simplified version he was using before his death here recently. And given the new show Dragon Ball Daima's style, which is an attempt to return to the more classic happy-go-lucky fun adventures of Dragon Ball, I thought it would be interesting to do this in the style of the original 80s Akira Toriyama. One of the major differences here is you'll notice the body type I'm giving him is a lot more pot-bellied. Again, that's kind of in line with original Toriyama style. Here you can see Goku's originally had more of a nuggety chicken nugget style body. He's got more of a Grogu from the Mandalorian style body. He's all torso with stubby arms and stubby legs. That was originally what made Dragon Ball so interesting when it went into the martial arts section, was because it was just funny to watch this tiny little fat kid beating up monsters and demons and soldiers and giant robots and stuff. But as the series went along, that became the problem. Toriyama kind of hated the stubbiness of Goku's body. It made it difficult to draw like exciting action poses. So he took a massive gamble and had his main character grow up. Goku had this style for the first big chunk of Dragon Ball. And then there's what you call a time skip. A couple of years pass and all the characters gather together for a big tournament. And lo and behold, little tiny Goku has grown up to a full-size man. And this was actually a massive chance Toriyama was taking to completely redesign his super popular main character. But it actually paid off. The series became more popular than ever after that, and shortly thereafter shifted into what's known as Dragon Ball Z, with its greater focus on action and adventure and its full-grown hero. After Toriyama got finished with the Dragon Ball manga, the franchise decided to keep going on its own, and in the mid-90s, a show called Dragon Ball GT debuted, which also attempted to kind of go back to the more happy-go-lucky style of early Dragon Ball, and had Goku be affected by a magic spell, a wish that turned him into a little kid again. Most people hated that, and hated the fact that Toriyama wasn't involved. It kind of changes the narrative style when the main creator leaves a popular series like that. Flash forward 30 years, well, closer to 20 years, because Toriyama came back and created a series called Dragon Ball Super, which has been running off and on-ish for about 10 years, and this is the last work of Akira Toriyama on Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball Daima he borrows the idea of Kid Goku coming back from Dragon Ball GT and includes it in one of his own stories. He goes one step further. Instead of just Goku being transformed into a kid, the entire main cast is transformed into kids in Dragon Ball Daima. And that's actually going to be my goal for this week. I'm going to try to do a video a day. And I'm going to try to draw a different version of each of the main characters in the same style as this, with their Dragon Ball Daima character designs and clothing, but using the art style of earlier Toriyama. So my plan tomorrow is to draw Vegeta in a more kid Vegeta from the 90s style and have it kind of go side by side with this version of Goku. My history with the franchise goes back to the late 90s when Dragon Ball Z would air on Cartoon Network here in America during a segment called Toonami, where it would show mostly anime. It would show Sailor Moon, Dragon Ball Z, Gundam Wing, Outlaw Star, Tenchi Muyo. Back in the days before streaming, you had to get your anime fix on actual TV, and Cartoon Network was what brought that to us. Dragon Ball Z was the strangest show I had ever seen. The names, voices, character styles, nothing about it was like anything I had ever seen before. And a lot of that goes to the creator, Akira Toriyama. He's a creator who has his own style. He pretty much he draws what he wants, how he wants, and it's a very singular voice that you get for the most part with the Dragon Ball franchise. Before that, I had been into American comics and cartoons, and one of the things that really draws viewers in, and with Dragon Ball Z, and it worked with me, is the hyper serialized storytelling. I grew up on regular superhero cartoons where most episodes were one and done adventures, and if there'd be two-parters if something went longer, but there were never really any shows that just literally told one story broken up across 20-minute segments. And so it became like the effect of watching a soap opera or a telenovela. You just became obsessed with these characters and their lives, and you just had to see what happened next in the story. Add to that the very unique flavor of Toriyama's art and storytelling, and I became addicted and have been a massive fan of the series over half my life. In fact, I spent a few years going through the manga in its entirety, doing my own quote-unquote translation or adaptation of it. That's a very useful thing to do if you want to study the work of a creator you admire. It creates, often when you read something, you kind of gobble it down and blow through a story. But if you stop and actually type out the words yourself, it necessitates a very slow reading. You kind of get into the mindset of the creator as they were creating it. Hunter S. Thompson, the famous writer, did something similar. He used to copy the works of like F. Scott Fitzgerald. He reportedly typed out the entirety of The Great Gatsby. And it forces you to really think through how the creator saw things and the decisions they were making almost in real time as they were making them. Doing that only improved my love for Toriyama and his storytelling style. He unfortunately passed away earlier this year. He was a seminal figure in the manga community. So many works that have come out since then, One Piece, Naruto, hundreds of others, came after Dragon Ball and were influenced by Dragon Ball. Toriyama wasn't the first manga creator to do these kinds of boys' adventure stories, but he's become sort of the prime influence for anyone that came after him. A lot of my own self-taught art skills I developed while in high school, being in love with and obsessed with Dragon Ball Z. So drawing this today was very comforting to me. It was very much relying on old skills and techniques I had taught myself, as a teenager. Even like coloring the scabbard that holds the staff on his back, and the coloring of the staff. These were techniques I developed in high school while drawing Dragon Ball. And so coming back to them today and not really needing to even think about what I was doing, I just kind of was able to put my mind on autopilot as I worked on this, and as I worked through the problems of trying to adapt this costume to a more classic Toriyama style. You can say I already had all the formula and architecture in my head that I needed to kind of help break this down and make this into as good as an image as I think it comes out as. I'm quite proud of this picture. I think it looks really good. Like I say, tomorrow my goal is to do something similar with the character Vegeta, and then Bulma after that, and then Piccolo after that, and then I'd like to scan all these images and go into Photoshop and maybe just kind of put them all together, the four of them crammed together into one image. You might recognize this type of shading that I use where I block out what color goes where. Again, this is something that is very standard in animation in general, but it's a thing I first noticed while trying to copy Dragon Ball Z drawings. And so now it's something I do today, even when I'm drawing more American superhero style. Drawing and coloring in this way, it's a fun little thought experiment to kind of imagine how the light and the shadow would drape across the body, and things like the way that the skirt on his long shirt would create a shadow that you see crossing over on his leg. It's just fun little exercises like that kind of get me motivated to draw and color more. We're getting close to the end of the video here, guys. I hope you guys really enjoyed today's little deviation from my normal style. Like I said, I'll probably be working in this style for the rest of the week, and then we'll see how it goes. I might go back to drawing more classic superhero stuff after that. I put my little maker's mark in here. I developed this while drawing Dragon Ball stuff in the 90s. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Be sure to like and subscribe, and come back tomorrow for more art. Bye.